All right, we are live with another instant reaction to Pat's camp. Probably be the last one for me, but today was the first padded practice of camp. So I thought this was an important one to get out there. Not a great day for the offense. Not a great day for the offense. We'll get into that, but so a few housekeeping notes. First off, Ronnie Perkins, Jabril Peppers off the PUP list, as well as two others, which was Jonathan Jones and Miles Bryant. Well, Jonathan Jones was PUP. Miles Bryant was the NFI list. All three of those guys were active. Jonathan Jones was out there for a good amount of reps, but Jabril Peppers went down actually with Pierre Strong and did some workouts down below. So he really didn't do much today, but he was there and he's off the pup list, which is good. So that's good to see. And Jake Bailey obviously was out there, got his nice 4-year contract extension, which I think is great. Well earned, well deserved. And then the other part of it, what's going on, buddy? The other part of it for me is that, it does lower the cap number a little bit. It brings it down to 5. Speaking about cap number, Brian Hoyer missing in action for the 3rd straight practice. Surprising. Just weird that he hasn't been out there. And so it's just strange to me that he's not out there still. I'm not sure what's going on. They had an off day yesterday. It's not like, he's fatigued, right, at this point in camp. So I'm starting to wonder if isn't hanging him up. I'm not sure. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. There was a moment in practice where, is a moment in practice where you kind of looked at it and said, like, okay, Mac's clearly tired, like wanted a break, right? As a matter of fact, there was a rep. They were just working, wide receivers and quarterback, and Devontae Parker was out there, and Bailey Zappi was throwing to the other side with tight ends were being covered by safeties and corners, and the wide receivers were working on no one. And so Zappi wasn't there to throw. And so they were having a staff guy go out and throw, and Parker was lined up, and he's like, no, I'm not running around with you. Like, I'm running around with Mac. And so Mac jumped in there and then was like, all right, I need a break. Right. So he was nonstop throwing. So anyways, it seems bizarre. Either Hoyer's going to come back or they're going to have to sign someone else, because they really need a 3rd QB in camp, at least just to take some of those reps off the guys. So, but nevertheless, so there's that. Look, as I said, a rough day for the offense. The very first snap of 11-on-11, Isaiah Wynn jumped on a false start, and then Mac Jones, and now the hard thing to know, Tyquan Thornton was the one running the route. The hard thing to know was Tyquan Thornton supposed to be in that spot or not? But either way, it was a gift interception for Terrence Mitchell. It just wasn't a good throw. Even if Tyquan Thornton maybe could have gotten there a little bit earlier, it was tight coverage anyway. So it was a really bizarre throw there. And really, they just didn't look good. I will say Ronnie Perkins jumped off a little bit, made a few nice plays. Sam Roberts made a nice play or two. He's a guy, interior defensive lineman, won the Cliff Harris, I believe, award for the best defender outside of Division I, which is the same award that Kyle Duggar won the year the Patriots drafted him. So 6th-round draft pick this year. I'm excited about his potential in the middle of the defense this year. So we'll see if he does anything, but I was happy to see him make a play or two, today. And again, Ronnie Perkins made a play or two. Josh Uche had a nice, deflection and coverage against Bailey Zappi, but, I'm starting to wonder if Uche is going to be the guy or not, but we'll see. We'll see. Secondary, I thought looked great. Malcolm Butler had a few really competitive plays. They did 11-on-11 red zone. First pass was to Devontae Parker. He high pointed the ball with Parker and knocked the ball away. Last pass was to Tyquan Thornton in the back of the end zone, and he was getting there, and Jones was underneath and leaped and made a nice, deflected the ball away really nicely. So, some really nice plays by him. But again, you're looking for more than that out of your offense, right? And look, it's early in training camp still. I think that the defense typically has a little bit of an advantage over the offense early in camp. And so that might have been a little bit what we're seeing, but the timing isn't quite there yet from the receivers and the quarterback. When they're running 11-on-11 and the pads are on, it's not really there yet, but you can see, man, the competitiveness and the fire and the scrappiness of that defense, from, Malcolm Butler, as I said, to Marcus Jones, right, to Adrian Phillips. Those guys are scrappy. They're tough. They play in the run game. They fill Jack Jones at a play where he filled really nicely. Bentley had a nice play where he filled in a hole, right? So it's, it's all of those things where you start looking at it like, okay, this is exactly what we're looking for. And again, they're not bringing anyone to the ground, right? It's not a game where they're going at guys' knees or anything. They're not doing that. But you still see some of that scrappiness from the guys that you want to see it from. And I'm excited about the guys that are out there. Now we'll see. But I'm excited about the guys that are out there. And so there was a nice play. Listen, the offense is going to have their plays. Mac had a really nice pass to Devontae Parker on the left sideline, going away from the media tent, where he hit Parker. Just a beautiful throw. Just absolutely nothing you could do about it on the defensive side. And they had a few plays where they were working on things like that. They did a lot of one-on-one with cornerbacks and wide receivers. And they had one with Kendrick Bourne where he was flying up the sideline, and all of a sudden he just stopped. And when he stopped, the ball was there, and it was just like, and Jalen Mills, who has been all over the field as far as like one-on-one matchups, he doesn't get. There are some times when a guy will beat him, but it doesn't happen very often. He had a really nice play against Devontae Parker on a post route. He had a really nice practice, breaking up some plays and getting in people's grills. But on that particular play, it was just like there's no way you could stop that. It was just that back shoulder throw is impossible to stop, especially when he's running up the sideline. And Mills is right there. He's got great coverage on Bourne, and Bourne just stops and the ball's there. And by the time he reacts to it, the ball's already in his hands, right? So those are the type of things you love to see. That will continue, I think. That's going to continue. So we haven't seen much of Pierre Strong yet. He still has been limited. Kevin Harris has looked pretty good out there, right? He looks like a Damian Harris clone out there, right? He does a nice job catching the ball. He's got soft hands. Does a nice job catching the ball to the backfield, which I think he does a little bit better than Harris. And he can run pretty well, seems like. So again, it's early. It's hard to know exactly what's going on. I thought the offensive line struggled a little bit today. They really didn't open many holes. There were one or two holes that were there for running backs, but for the most part, the defense really did a nice job of stepping up, stepping in and making some plays. Again, Perkins, I thought, played pretty well on the outside. I thought he played decent today. Now, everyone's looking for Ronnie Perkins to kind of be that guy that can play across from Matthew Judon. I don't know. I think he might be able to be that guy. Now, we'll see, of course, but I think he might be able to be that guy. So I'm cautiously optimistic about Ronnie Perkins, and I thought he looked pretty good today. So, and again, it's hard to see without the benefit of like replay and stuff. Unless you're watching someone, it's hard to really see offensive, defensive line. Like unless you say, okay, I'm going to watch Cole Strange for the next 5 plays, but then you miss everything else that's going on, and you can't rewind the tape and watch it again, right? So it's hard to really know how well they did on the offensive line, but I can tell you they weren't making a ton of holes. Mac got sacked once, actually sacked once where the pocket just collapsed on him and he fell. And then there were a few other times where he had to get, where he was rushed out of the pocket or had to step up around pressure or, things like that. So, it wasn't a great day from the offensive side, but again, I really think this defense is going to be better than people expect. I really do. And I'm excited to see what they bring to the table. Of course, when Peppers actually starts playing, but I think at least that they have 5 safeties that can really play. And I'm excited about what Marcus Jones brings to the table. And, Terrence Mitchell has looked good in camp to this point. He's looked pretty good, right? So you have him, you have Butler. I think Marcus Jones has really played well in the slot. And again, bring some of that physicality. He's not big. He's not a big guy, but he is like wide. He's stocky. He's like, he's a tough kid. You can see that. And you see it on his film, right? And Jack Jones the same way, where he plays scrappy and he's small, but he plays scrappy. And I'm excited to see what this defense can do. So, day one of hitting, it's nice to see them out there hitting again. A few of those, you heard those few like thuds on the kick returns. They did a little kick return practice, a little kickoff practice as well. And so it was nice to kind of hear some of those thuds again, right? But they're still not at full speed. So we'll see. Now 10 days from now is their first preseason game. So then you'll really see what's going on out there. But I'm excited to see where it leads to here. I think it's a good sign. It's a good early sign for the defense that they had a nice day today. They're not always going to be as good as they were today, but I thought the defense did a nice job today. So we'll see where it goes from there. But thank you for following along. I really appreciate you guys tuning in to the instant reactions here. Again, Rest of the week is tough for me. My wife goes back to work, so it's going to be tough for me to kind of sneak in here because I'm not going to be able to get the practice. But I might. You never know. I might drag the kids along with me one day. So you never know. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys, and at the very least, we'll talk to you later on in the week. All right, take care.